Hey, it's Rick. I'm back for another video. Today we are going to be making a slider card using the Owl stamp set and dies from Miss Ink Stamps. We're also going to be using the Cobblestone stencil as well to do our background pieces. So I'm going to move these to the side. We'll get started. All right, for our card base, you're going to need a piece that's 5.5 by 8.5, and you're going to score it at 1.5 on one side and 5 3/4. Okay. So we can go ahead and fold up our card base side. Now, you notice that there is it overlaps a little bit. We're going to take our trimmer and we're just going to trim off a smidge. Just so there's a little bit of a gap. All right, we've got our little smidge cut off. And we're going to start, that's our card base. Okay. Now, for our parts and pieces, you're going to need 2 pieces of white cardstock that is 2 inches by 2 inches, and you score them at 1 inch. This is going to be for our little mechanism. You're also going to need 2 pieces of 2 inch by 2 inch pieces of cardstock in your matte layers. We're going to need a 2 3/8 by 2 3/8 inch circle for our part of our slider. And then our matte layer for that is 2.5 by 2.5. A 3 3/4 by 5 1/4 piece. And we're going to cut that. This is going to be for our stenciling. And then we have a 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece for our inside of our card, and a 4 by 5 1/4 for our matte layer for that. That's also going to go on the inside of our card, so we're going to set that to the side. You saw that I took those score lines and put those together. So what we're going to do, we'll set that to the side. We're going to work on our stenciling first so we can get that out of the way. Then I'm going to take my Cobblestone stencil. I'm going to place that on top of my layer here. And then I've got some Rocky Slope ink. This is going to be for my base layer of my cobblestones. So we're going to ink blend that on top. All right, before I move on, I'm going to come in with the Metropolis ink, which is a little bit darker. And I'm going to take a detail blending brush and I'm going to add some shadow around the edge. Of our cobblestone piece. We're also going to add some right along our edges here as well, so that we have a little bit of definition. But that will help to give the cobblestone a little bit more of a stone-like appearance. Come in the center there in just certain areas, so we have a little shadow in there. Now, you could do this and add all kinds of details to this stone. You could add in some moss color and give it a little bit of moss on there. All kinds of things you could do. We can actually take and kind of pounce on in certain areas with our blending tool. Create a little bit more texture in there. A little modeling effect. And I'm going to clean that. And I will do the same thing with that Rocky Slope. Pounce in a little of that. Just make sure wherever you do it, you give it even coverage. So don't leave like an area not done. Add a little bit more in there. Give your stones some life. All right, we're going to take and peel this back. Here's our first layer. So we'll move that. You can see how all that texture adds to that cobblestone. Now we're going to take our 2 3/8 by 2 3/8 piece, and we're going to do that cobblestone on this as well. So we're just going to take and pick an area of the stencil we like. Make sure that it's lined up. I'm going to move this down, and I'm going to use this grid. All right, so we're going to come in and do that same technique for this background panel. Come along the edge there with the darker color. And then I'm going to pounce in a little bit of that in there. Give it more of that aged look. Then we'll add some of our lighter color. If you get a little area where you get the little blotchies and you don't like it, just kind of blend over it. Add a little bit more color over it. It'll be okay. All right, let me move those. We'll move our brushes. There's that. So there's that panel. That's going to get layered on that. I'm going to take my inside panel. I want to add a little bit of something to it. So I'm going to take and add some tape along one edge. And I'm going to add the cobblestone to one side. That way it'll have a little cohesion to the inside of our card. I'm just going to take my darker color on the edge there. We will stamp a sentiment on the inside. Let's go ahead and add our little texture. That little aged look. Take that off, and I'll go ahead and remove that tape. We have our nice little cobblestone effect for the inside of our card as well. We're going to start working on our parts and pieces of our card now. We're going to pull in our 2 by 2 inch squares for those. Remember, we scored this in half, and we have burnished that score line. So we're going to take our little 2 by 2 inch squares. We're going to add some glue behind that. And what we're going to do is we're going to sandwich them with the score line going in the middle. Make sure everything's nice and lined up. One going that way. Oops, we've split a little bit. Let's move that back. And those line up right along the edge. Make sure they're nice and lined up. You want that opening towards the outside. And make sure everything is nice and square. Okay, so it should look like that. Should look like a little book. That's what we're going to do now. We're going to add a little bit of glue to these. Then we're going to place our other 2 by 2 inch square on top. This is going to be our little slide for our card. If you have any cardstock overhanging, you can take and cut that off. We're going to take our 2.5 by 2.5 and our little 2 3/8 by 2 3/8 inch piece. We're going to layer those together. Just give that a nice little center. This is going to get layered on top of this. That's going to get layered on top of our slide. So you want to make sure you have it centered. So I'm just going to flip it over on the back. Line it up. Then I can set this to the side, let that dry for a little bit. All right, this is the piece that we did our ink blending on. We're gonna take this and we're gonna cut that at 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. So we'll just cut 1 1/4 inch off. We already have it 5 1/4, I do. All right. Now, comes the time you have to decide which part of your card you want to be the smaller one. Doesn't really matter. We're going to flip this to the other side since I cut it that way. This is going to get lined up with a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch margin all the way around. That way, the way I'm doing it, that way it will not be all cattywampus. All technical term, cattywampus. All right, so there's that part. Now we're going to take our little slide mechanism, and you're going to take and slide and give it a little bend like that. And you can take and slide those in. This is the trickiest part about the whole thing. So you're going to slide those in. Place that where you want it to be. And the more you slide it on and off, the easier it will be to slide up and down off the card. So there's that part. So I'll slide that off because we're going to do our inside. So we need to go ahead and stamp our inside sentiment, and we need a sentiment for the outside. So we will use, we're going to do at surprised on the on the inside, and we will have plenty of room to write a message. So we'll move that. Let me layer this up. So I do want to stamp my inside greeting as well. I mean my outside greeting. So we'll go ahead and put that on the inside. All right, we're going to place our little slider mechanism on the inside. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment here that says, sorry, this is late, the owl got lost. And I'm going to stamp that in VersaFine on its black. So it's nice and dark. Now I did go ahead and I have colored, stamped out and colored some of my images for a couple of the owls. I did 3 owls and the window. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slide the mechanism back on. And again, the more you slide it up and down, the easier it's going to be to come on and off. So we're going to slide that into place. We're going to take and add our little window, and we're going to use some foam tape. Want that to sit right above our sentiment. My little owl, I was going to say, where'd my little owl go? We're going to set him in the window. And I'm going to use that same 1mm tape for him. I'm going to set him right in the window like he's sitting there waiting. I'm going to add a little liquid glue to him, so we can add on our little broom. And then we're going to just attach this down. All right, I'm going to attach, I've attached this one flat, and I've changed my mind and decided to attach him flat as well. So we're just going to tuck him under here. That way it gives our sliding mechanism will slide on and off if Rick could get a hold of it. That way, keeping those flat, then we can slide him on and off. All right, let's do our finishing touches. We're going to take a white Jelly Roll pen, and we will add some highlights to our little owls. All right, here is my slider card using the owl stamp set. Our little focal image just slides right off and it opens right up. So it's like a gatefold card, or sliding gatefold card. There's the look at the outside. Here's a look at the inside. Here's our sliding mechanism that just slides right on. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you give it a try. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys, stay crafty. Love you.